Alright guys, welcome to In-Depth Crypto, and today's video, I have a podcast episode for you guys, a little analysis of a podcast episode I listened to today called Are NFT Gaming Tokenomics Fatally Flawed? And yeah, so let's get into it. So what happened? So this podcast was done by the NFT Steez podcast that's hosted on Cointelegraph, and this episode featured team members of the Crypto Raiders blockchain game built on the Polygon network. So in this hour-long podcast, there are multiple insights that we can examine and analyze. But the summary is essentially cryptocurrency has great crypto, but extremely lacking currency or tokenomics. And basically, projects without working, sensible, and/or innovative tokenomics will be doomed from their inception. So a little to expound upon this little quote here, before we get into the main part of the video, cryptocurrency, the line cryptocurrency has great crypto but extremely lacking currency. This is a line that I came up with a while ago. It just means that there's an extreme imbalance in the crypto space between programming and computer competency and the economic and financial competency / execution. And so, for example, you'll see all these teams, of these cryptocurrency projects, but you see head of, tech or PhD of programming, whatever. You almost never see head of economics, almost never see head of tokenomics, if not ever. You just never see that. So extremely simplified. Without a financial or economic incentive, what rationale is there for anyone to pay gas fees when operating on Web3 platforms, especially the high gas fees of Bitcoin and Ethereum? So whether it's cheaper fees than traditional fees for remittances, or more trust in decentralized storage than centralized alternatives, higher than average ROI percentage points, etc. People put their money to crypto projects or crypto in general due to primarily financial and economic reasons. Foremost, whatever. It's not just because people want just have extra money around. People are going to do it for financial reasons. If there is no financial incentive to do so, I believe the extreme majority of people within cryptocurrency would just keep their money in fiat. So it's either going to be financial, as in like you're going to be able to gain from it, either through revenue or appreciation, or just through economic reasons. And that's why I put that here, which is also just meaning in general centralization versus decentralization, or decentralized financial models, financial institutions, infrastructure, etc. So to end this point here, founders not having the financial potential / capabilities of a project at the absolute forefront of a project, in my opinion, is a grave mistake that will almost certainly lead to medium-term and long-term project failure. So I do believe projects can be popular within the short term, but to last 5 years, to last 10 years, however long is considered a medium to long-term game within the gaming industry, I do not believe at all that will be able to happen within the very specific blockchain game-based industry without having the finances and the financial realities of said game and said project on the forefront. So into the video now. So what did this tell us? So after going through these through this hour-long podcast, I came up with 2 points for time's sake that I wanted to analyze. So the first one's gonna be a little bit longer, and then the second one's gonna be a little bit shorter. But so at around point 1830, the female host brings up the question about the guest's thoughts about the play to earn or PTE tokenomic model. And for those unaware, the PTE tokenomic model has been under scrutiny for being Ponzi-like. PTE requires new players of a blockchain game to purchase an in-game asset or assets in order to play or unlock the game's full capabilities. Because there's a required initial cost, as long as the game can attract new players, people already within the game are pretty much guaranteed returns, while new people are guaranteed to be at a statistical disadvantage for future economic / financial rewards. So this is why this is kind of a controversial tokenomic model, even though this was a big thing in 2021 in terms of the blockchain gaming. So of the team members, and there's only 2, I believe, on the guests, but one of them was called Nick. And so as a response to this question about the PTE, he responds with this hybrid model solution, and it would work like this. So there would be 2 versions of the game, and he's referring to Crypto Raiders, but as you'll see later, I'm going to just compare it to Clash of Clans because that's a more audience-friendly example here. But He said there's going to be a hybrid model where there's going to be two versions of the same game, one paid and one free. Paid players pay for assets and are given unique privileges surrounding asset cultivation and selling potential on secondary markets. And then free players then pay for assets, which are derived from paid players, to advance their gameplay. So, in reference to the famous game Clash of Clans, Nick's hybrid model would allow for free players to pay X amount of dollars in gems, which would be a fungible token, to purchase extra elixir, which is a fungible token, from paid players who generate the elixir from their elixir collector, which is a paid NFT. So this machine, the elixir collector, would be the NFT that paid users pay X amount of gems for, and then however much elixir comes from the elixir pump, they will be able to sell on the market to make up the cost of this initial NFT purchase. So free players would have to obtain elixir and gold, which are the two main currencies within Clash of Clans, from winning battles, while paid players can just purchase elixir collectors and gold mines, both of which are NFTs, with gems, which is the primary fungible token of, this Clash of Clans version on the blockchain, without ever needing to participate in a single battle. So they can sell the extra elixir and gold that their assets produce in a secondary commodity market that's aimed towards free players. So yeah, basically that the game will have its initial or primary focus or gameplay, which in terms of Clash of Clans is building the barbarian, archer, giant, whatever to destroy, your opponent's base. So that will still be the main game, but it will have basically a side branch, which is for very specifically the people who are interested in the financial side of the game. So that's basically what Nick's hybrid model was when asked that question. So here's my personal critiques for this. So the primary con. This tokenomic model requires free players to purchase assets, which is a contradiction, that are derived from paid players. So how likely is it that a person would play a free version of a game, pay X amount of dollars for in-game assets, but then not just become a paid player themselves to recoup lost money from asset purchasing? This ought to result in an oversupply of items on the secondary market, which means low earning potential for paid players, which results in a weak likelihood of newcomers becoming paid players in the first place, / after a certain amount of paid players already exist. So, and we're going to go over this after I finish this little side comment. So, the only way to balance in-game commodity prices would be to tightly manage the quantity of income earning assets, or NFTs, and very specifically the amount of assets entering the secondary market, which affects the price of commodities and you would do this via quotas, price floors, or imposing lifespans on surplus producing assets. So surplus producing just means income producing / profit producing assets, which would be the elixir pump and gold mine for our example. And so assuming the team wants a free market capitalist or hands-off secondary market for their hybrid model, this idea is doomed to fail due to oversupply of commodities derived from paid players. So, yes, this is the reason why having an economic background is absolutely essential within crypto. If you couldn't understand what I just said in terms of the economic parts of this, I highly, highly recommend that you do not get into cryptocurrency, because if you're unable to understand this, when you listen to a blockchain person say, oh yeah, crypto is going to do this, going to do that, you're not going to have the exact knowledge to be able to dissect this. So that's kind of just one of the little asterisks I would like to put there. But anyway, so going into in terms of what this part means is that, so let's go from the beginning. This free model, this hybrid model requires free players to purchase assets, which is a contradiction, that are derived from paid players. So if you're unaware, within the gaming industry, there's a revenue model, or I guess business model, more so specifically, called the free-to-play gaming model. And essentially that just means that everyone pretty much is able to get into the game for free and able to play, either an introductory level or an introductory amount of the game, and or be able to play the entire game without purchasing anything within the game within reason. However, for the most part, if you purchase these items, so for example, within Clash of Clans, you would purchase these gems. If you purchase these gems, these expedite how fast you're able to do things. So you can do things quicker, you can do things for cheaper, in terms of in-game currency, etc. So it gives you a whole bunch of advantages in terms of giving you this in terms of interacting with the in-game currency. So the point of bringing that up, the free-to-play business model, is that only a very small percentage of free-to-play players make up the vast majority of business revenue. I tried to find the exact stat, but it was literally all less than 1%, less than 5% guaranteed. So in reference to Nick's business model here, he's looking for at least for a maximum, of 1 to 5% of his free players to then make up the fees, or to make up the market that would purchase the assets from the paid players themselves, which is kind of crazy. So as I said, so let's say for example, right, we're using Clash of Clans as an example, and let's say for every day gone, an elixir pump can produce 1,000 units of elixir. And let's say for 1,000 units of elixir, that's worth $10, meaning that $100 or 100 units of elixir is worth a single dollar. So if I'm a free person, in terms of a free player, if I'm a free player on Clash of Clans and I need to purchase $100 or 100 units of elixir that cost the producer $1, it might cost me $2. It might cost me $3 on the open market. So it's less than $10, which was the cost of the elixir pump, but it's still at a markup, and it's still 30%, I guess, of the cost. If we're going to use the $10 example there. So if the elixir pump costs, or elixir collector, sorry, if the elixir collector costs $10, but then its produce, so the elixir, costs $3, why wouldn't I, as a free player, if I'm already incentivized to purchase $3 worth, why wouldn't I just purchase $10 worth and then make my own from there? So that's kind of what I'm saying, where if you look here, not just become a paid player themselves to recoup lost money from asset purchasing. So this also results in an oversupply of items on the secondary market, which just means that, yeah, if I'm already jumping ship, why would I stay in the middle? I might as well just go on the other side and either just make all the gold or the elixir for myself way cheaper than it would be on the secondary market, and or I would just sell my surplus on the secondary market anyway. So if you have everybody on the pay side trying to sell their stuff on the secondary market, but only have a very small percentage of people on the free side looking to pay for said assets on the secondary market, you're going to have an extreme imbalance of supply and demand, and it's going to be way more on the supply side than demand side, which ultimately means that price is going to tumble, as he said it, essentially. So with that being the con, though, there are two pros that I would like to talk about potentially of this. So even though that's the case, his Nick's hybrid model, and in that model, the earnings are more ethical than with play to earn, because free players voluntarily purchase in-game assets while still having the option to play the game for free. So this sounds good on the surface, but this means that these purchasable assets, to maintain that same ethos of, being a voluntary purchase and not being a pretty much in your face, basically you have to purchase this to continue, but not really type of situation, which usually is the case for free-to-play games. That's pretty much like Club Penguin, if you want to think about that. So this sounds good, but this means that these purchasable assets can't be required to play the game or continue onwards, or else the free version of the game is not actually free. So the team has to make the in-game assets desirable for purchase to free players without making them required forever in this model, which is quite the task. And it's like, yeah, it's to maintain the paid players. The paid players have to see that the secondary market is lucrative enough for them to join anyway, to put down their initial deposit. So for that to be the case, as we said, it's required that the free players also are willing to purchase that. But if they're free, or they're free players, they're more likely not going to purchase anything anyway. But if they are willing to purchase, then they have to make the games desirable without making them required to actually play the game, which would be a play to play, not free to play. And you have to do this forever. So not just as long as the game survives, but very specifically for as long as those assets are considered valuable, is how long that the team would have to balance this to make this whole tokenomic structure make sense. And that's a ridiculous task that they're more likely not going to be able to accomplish. So the second pro, though, potentially, is that if this model somehow managed to balance itself with all those things just mentioned, and the game had a large enough player base, and I'm thinking the player base of Clash of Clans, of Subway Surfer, of these type of games, like multi-millions, the team could introduce tertiary marketplaces. And so I define this term within this context as financial derivative markets that stem from secondary marketplaces of blockchain-based / tokenized assets. So in this example of Clash of Clans, right, the secondary marketplace would be where the paid players sell their excess gold and elixir, etc. for gems, so which would be the dominant fungible token, as I mentioned before. The tertiary marketplace could be a futures market, for example, that would be a marketplace for buyers and sellers of contracts, for future contracts, of the price of elixir, the price of gold, for pre-trained barracks, dark elixir, etc. So this would greatly increase the financial appeal of the game, but it would require an extremely solid proven player base. And yeah, so just imagine whenever Clash of Clans first came out, that if you could bet on the future price of elixir or dark elixir when it first came out, I remember that upgrade. So if you could have bought a futures for that and then sold it maybe 2 years later, 3 years later, when that update was considered normal or regular within the gameplay, you could have made a lot of money from there. And so the only thing that's a caveat of this, though, these guys, these crypto, what are they called? Crypto raiders? Yeah, these crypto raiders, they wouldn't be able to do such a thing, though, in my opinion, is because even if you had the infrastructure to create tertiary marketplaces in terms of, programming it, if they only have 2,000 players, you're not going to have enough dollar volume to support that. Whereas with Clash of Clans, with Minecraft, with Pokemon, whatever, you literally have millions and tens of millions of people, which is going to be enough to create a tertiary market in terms of dollar interest or contract interest. So with that being said, this idea of him, with his hybrid model, it sounded good in the podcast. It definitely did if you didn't have trained ears. But when you break it down, you would have to give it out of 10 a tokenomic score of 2.5 maximum. It's kind of abysmal, and I don't want to say it because I'm also creating a crypto project. But like I said, these tokenomics are going to be the make or break of all of these crypto projects, including this one, including Watch to Earn. So that's why we're so focused on the tokenomics side, not necessarily the feature, program, blockchain side of things. So point two of 2. So at $28, I was about to say $28. At 28 minutes and 31 cents, a point was brought up by one of the guests that he mirrors. There's some of the brother. Yeah. So basically, a point up was brought up by one of the guests. So kind of talking about a third party person here, but that he also personally mirrors the sentiment that basically within the gaming community, that the idea of financialization of games that they hold near and dear is basically against the core gaming ethos within the industry, basically. So he's trying to say that the existing gamers, the existing people or the people who are interested within blockchain gaming right now, but who are coming from the old traditional gaming infrastructure, they are really against financialization. They want these things to be as pure to the original ethos as possible. So here's my personal critique to that. So my opinion is that this mindset is closed-minded. And why is that? This logic assumes that there's an identical value proposition for blockchain games and traditional games, with these two obviously being separate entities. Having the exact same value proposition is thus impossible. So why can't blockchain games serve a unique or innovative purpose within the gaming sphere compared to traditional ones? They don't have to be exact mirror copies, but just with a blockchain version of that, because that's currently what we have right now, and that's what people are complaining about. So the side comment to that is that in a neighboring industry, which in my opinion is the film industry compared to the video game industry, we see this financialization all the time, which is something that he was afraid of, but which is commonplace here. So when films do well in the box office, we see all types of sequels, trilogies, spin-offs, TV spin-offs, merchandise sales, music sales, theater and musical adaptations, etc. and you can list quite a few more there. When done wrong, this results in Scooby-Doo and Velma, which is the classic Scooby-Doo, and then the current Velma situation with the super woke Scooby-Doo version, I guess. And then when done correctly, you get the Marvel franchise, which, you know, from the original MCU, I think it was like 2008, I guess, in terms of the movie specifically with the Hulk and then with Iron Man. Fast forward 10 whole years later, the financialization worked out extremely well. No one would tell Marvel that, oh yeah, maybe you shouldn't make all these extra movies, or maybe you shouldn't, whatever, you know. That worked out extremely well. So the idea of financialization itself isn't a problem, but it's actually preferred in terms of business, but it's only preferred if the underlying art, in this case the game, is solid. So I kind of think that his point about financialization and being too clingy to the past, you know, you can't. That's why I don't understand why a lot of these people, you know, and I guess it's just one of those things that we're gonna have to grow out of. But you're willing to accept a literal what's it called, paradigm shifting technology, which is the blockchain, both just real life and then also within financial matters. But then you still want to cling on to everything from the exact past. Like, you can't really have both ways. So that's kind of why I think that's a contradiction there. But the potential opportunity, so not to just focus on all the doom and gloom. So when a blockchain game eventually reaches the heights of a Pokemon, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, Angry Birds, or Candy Crush, for example, having functional tokenomics will make that game more successful than its non-blockchain counterparts, in my opinion. So so my rationale for this is quite sound. So, at least in my opinion. So, if after unlocking, so I listed like three different examples here. Excuse me. I listed like three different examples here of where this idea could make sense. So, if after unlocking new Angry Birds, if every type of Angry Bird was rewarded as an NFT, what would the number one mint NFT for the blue Angry Bird be after 13 years? And remember, from the game, you play with the red one first, and then you unlock the blue ones. So when you unlock the blue ones, you get set number 1, or you get set number 2, number 1,000, whatever. What would that number 1 NFT be worth today? That's just an example. So if when crafting new items, Minecraft issued NFTs for each time a player crafts an item for the first time, kind of like an achievement, not necessarily as use this specific NFT for this specific item, but just as an achievement type of thing. So what would the number 20 NFT Diamond Pickaxe be worth today after 11 years? So remember the Diamond Pickaxe, that was the most legendary tool, the most iconic tool within Minecraft, because it's the strongest one, it's of the strongest material, diamond. So if number 20 or number 10, number 100, whatever, got minted, what would that be worth today on the NFT marketplace after all these years? And then finally, if during the height of the Pokemon video games, if they released NFT for each Pokemon caught or bred, what would be the value of a shiny red Gyarados that was minted in the year 2000 with the Pokemon Gold and Silver video games duo pack or series? So yeah, and if you know, within Pokemon, there's a type of Pokemon called shiny Pokemons, and these are very specific. And I don't even remember all the other specifics, how they get there, whatever. But the colors are different, and they're just a lower supply of Pokemon, just a different color base. So the original ones were Gyarados and I think Magikarp. So yeah, what would that be worth today after 23 years on the NFT marketplace? So these are just examples of individual tokens, but not necessarily even the tertiary marketplace, as I was telling you about, more advanced tokenomic structures as well. So with these examples aside, so while the extreme majority of these assets would naturally decline by 99% or even 100%, coinciding with the popularity of said game, even though that's the case, you can be assured that at least one, the value of key NFTs would stick for an extremely long time, in my opinion. So like I said, the number 20 NFT, even though Minecraft might not be as popular as it once was, number 20 or the number 1, pair of the 3 birds, whatever this is called, will outlast far more than the popularity of the game, in my opinion. And then 2, the dollar volume of said secondary and tertiary markets would dwarf traditional game sales figures, leading to another / superior, in my opinion, revenue model for the underlying gaming company. So I use this as an example, right? So as a comparison, the New York Stock Exchange ended in 2022 with a market cap of $48.5 trillion. And give or take on these figures, I try my best. It is what it is. But this is as accurate as I was able to get it. But anyway, the New York Stock Exchange has a daily volume of roughly $100 billion per day. So this means that after 405 days, volume overlaps asset value. So hopefully you're able to see how I did that. I just times 100 billion times 405, and then you get 40.5. So after 405 days, overall volume will surpass asset value. So why is that interesting? So using Minecraft as an example. So from 2012 to 2021, which is where the data came from, Minecraft made $3.5 billion directly from game sales, according to sources. So extrapolating out to 2022, which is just one more year later, using the average rate of $350 million in game sales per year, and using the 3.5 billion figure here to represent all in-game assets, so imagine if Minecraft was free to play and not pay to play. And then lastly, using the same stats between assets and volumes from the NYSE example, New York Stock Exchange example here, you'll find that the trading volume of the Minecraft asset market would be at an expected $34.7 billion over 10 years for a $3.47 billion annual trading volume at an asset multiple of 9.91, basically 10x of the actual sales. So with a 1% trading fee for all buying and selling within the secondary and tertiary asset markets, that would equal $34.7 million per year, and that represents an immediate 9.91% increase in overall Minecraft sales just by appropriately incorporating blockchain-based in-game assets. So we're not even talking about these NFT collections. Whether you go on Wax, whether you go on Ethereum, and I haven't checked any of the other NFT marketplaces, to be honest with you, but when you check those, they'll have royalties of, at bare minimum, 2%, 4%. I think right now Wax is at 6%, but it used to be all the way up to, I think it used to be up to like 10 to 15%, something like that, way back in the day, which is like two-ish years ago, way back in the day. Within crypto, that's the case. But yeah, so with only 1%, we see a 9.91% increase. So just imagine that by 2%, or imagine that with a fully fleshed out, secondary marketplace system where each and every single item is worth something. And then imagine a tertiary marketplace, like I said, the futures market of said whatever. Very quickly, we get way higher than this, 9.91% increase. But we just wanted to use it for more conservative figures here. So finally, to wrap this video up, here are 5 conclusions I was able to take from this podcast, essentially. So here are the main 5. Yes. So number 1, tokenomics management / specialization will be an emerging and high-paying industry within the next 5 years, or within the next few years, not 5 years. In the same way, blockchain-specific developers have an entry-level salary of $100,000 to $120,000 walking in. According to some sources, it's inevitable that tokenomic specialist fees will match that of the computer It's inevitable that tokenomic specialist fees will match that of the computer technicians, most likely surpassed due to lower supply of competent economics versus programmers. And yeah, this is so true. So true. What we're noticing, and we're finally noticing, even though I've been saying it for a little while now, I think even the crypto interested crowd, I would say, not the crypto enthusiasts, not the crypto evangelists, maximalists, but the crypto interested crowd even now realize that there has to be some other incentive to enter cryptocurrency projects, blockchain projects, especially with your own dollar, than simply, oh hey, we're on the blockchain, oh hey, we have these NFTs, oh hey, we have a Discord, oh hey, whatever, And I think the best way to do that, yet again, in my opinion, is with tokenomics, not with any of the fancy programming. And because of that, and because very specifically economics in nature versus programming in nature, economics is a philosophy, essentially, while programming is an extremely hard science. It's just a digital hard science. So to be able to find competent economists who know what they're doing, period, in economics, and then also within cryptocurrencies, is going to cost quite a bit. But here I am trying to sell my services for tokenomics management. I'm trying to get into the forefront of this, but yeah, I can definitely see within a year, 2 years, 3 years, when crypto projects are trying to launch again within the next crypto bull run, I definitely think that tokenomic consultancy is going to be huge. So, point number 2. Tokenomics will be the make or break for blockchain projects, and just because the NFT sector of crypto is far less financially dense than the DeFi sector, for example, to outright neglect or insufficiently prioritize a project's economics will be seen as a naive course of action in the coming years. And yeah, it's as simple as that. It's like the equivalent is this, right? Could you imagine looking at a website or a business who's looking to go on the internet back in like the early 2000s, late 90s, and say, we're going to be on the internet, we're going to be for all our customers, but only for all of our customers that are on the internet within our local geographic region. It's like, what does that mean? Like, it's kind of stupid. Like, that's Facebook. That's not that's an Instagram account. That's not, being on the internet type of thing. And I just think that, projects that are limiting themselves in terms of the tokenomics side of things are, they're not unlocking their full potential. And whether that's through laziness or that's through incompetency or not even being aware that this is something that they may need in their project, I definitely think that just now and literally forever within cryptocurrency, if the tokenomics aren't there, it is what it is, essentially. I think that the fiat alternatives will definitely outpace the blockchain alternatives in that scenario. So, number 3, my concept of negative financial density holds up. So quickly, I made this video a week or some change ago. So I'm going to leave this link into the description so you guys can watch it yourself. But extremely quickly, negative financial density means that not only will games, and in a more specifically in the theory, business entities, not only will games or business entities have to compete with others for the traditional comparison points, but crypto projects will have the unique ability/circumstance that they must also compete based on the tokenomics or financial opportunities that are available within that product uniquely. So yes, essentially putting that, if you're going to slap a W3 label on you, a Web3, a cryptocurrency, a blockchain label on top of your project, you're going to have to show up for that within tokenomics. So if your tokenomics are not there, you're going to lose against your fiat competitors. However, my concept with financial density in the previous video basically said that on the flip side, if there's a project that successfully operates on their tokenomics within cryptocurrency, they're pretty much set up to win structurally against their fiat competitors, because cryptocurrency is just a far more robust currency system than any fiat. Number 4, blockchain games that can appropriately set up their tokenomic structures will have an extreme advantage over their fiat competitors because of the additional/superior monetization models that cryptocurrency, blockchain, smart contracts, etc. enable users. And that's kind of what I was just saying there after the third point, which is, cryptocurrency, because of its smart contract capabilities, because of the blockchain's permeability, the medium of cryptocurrency, and you think of a medium similar to how there's clay, or how there's a canvas, there's a pencil, there's whatever with art. Think of it in the same way, the same medium within finances, where the medium of cryptocurrency is a far superior one than that of fiat. And with that, games, in this case, for the blockchain games, have a far superior monetization capability, as long as they understand what's needed of them, tokenomically speaking. And lastly, the first blockchain game to capture the true spirit of a traditional video game breakout hit, for example, Mario Kart, the Mario series, and any big game that you can think of, essentially. Street Fighters back in the day, whatever. Any breakout hit like that will most likely break all types or an extreme amounts of sales and financial records, and will become a shock to the overall gaming industry, which might lead to a stampede afterwards. And so my opinion is that, a perfect reference to this is the Banksy NFT collection, selling for $69 million for 5,000 images in a one-time purchase from a singular buyer. So, I guess I'll finish this. So why can't a game with millions of players create a market cap of at least $100 billion plus to be alongside current day Tether and Ethereum. Right now, number 3 and 2 respectfully, and that's where $100 billion would fit right in between there. And then with reference, Axie Infinity is at number 46 with a $1 billion market cap. So, yeah. So let's go over this last bit here before we finish this video. So, before the Banksy NFT collection got bought, and then also before the whole NFT rush, people would say, how much would you pay for 5,000 images on a hard drive? You probably pay less than what the hard drive cost you to store 5,000 images. And now 5,000 images, that could be within like what, a 2 gigabyte, 1 gigabyte, thumb drive. How much does that cost? So it's not gonna be anything. But because of that, because of the NFT uniqueness at the time in 2021, because of all those things, we fetched a high price tag for these NFT collections. And I could go quite in depth in terms of my opinions on what mechanics led to that. I guess that could be another video. But yeah, so if that happened, $69 million for 5,000 images from a one-time purchaser, from a single, and also from a singular purchaser, from what we know, why can't we then think a game with millions of players, such as a Pokemon, such as a Clash of Clans, such as a Candy Crush or whatever, why can't one of those be a blockchain-based game, and then also have a market cap of 100 billion plus, which we know is possible within cryptocurrency currently, let alone within 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. What's stopping that? And so, that was a good one. I'm looking at the time here, 36 minutes, 43 seconds. So, thank you guys for watching. And sorry that my voice is like this. It's really hit or miss. But if you'd like to, I'm offering my services. So, if you'd like to contact me, I'm going to leave the email for the Watch to Earn project down in the description. But you can also, and more than likely, is going to get a far faster response time. Is going to be through the Discord, because that's where I check the most often, and that's where we update everyone within the Watch to Earn project about different updates and whatnot. So if you do want low prices really for tokenomic advice or structures or anything like that, and you like the analysis that you've seen, make sure to hit me up. And definitely I'm not gonna upcharge you a lot, because I'm just trying to get my initial feet wet. But yeah, so these tokenomic skills are definitely going to be in handy for anybody looking to create their own crypto project. And is there anything else? 3, 2, 1. All right, I guess that is it. So until next time, guys, I appreciate it. It's been In-Depth Crypto at Watch to Earn. Until next time, peace.